Is this the first council meeting for this year?
Yes.
As we had before. Oh. My hand shudders started to shake when you said that. Okay, thank you. I'll ask everybody to be upstanding while we have the affirmation, please. We recognise the traditional owners of the land. We are inspired by the early pioneers and by those who gave their lives for our country. We now ask God's blessing in our deliberations and on our commitment to build a better lifestyle and environment. Thank you. Just before we get underway today, it's with a great amount of pleasure that I welcome Councillor Trevor Grady and Councillor Lauren Dempsey to their first meeting of the Northern Grampians Shire Council. We're hopeful that it will be an exciting and fruitful time with your involvement in the deliberations of the Northern Grampians Shire. So welcome and good luck in the next 4 years. First of all, item number 1 is, are there any apologies? No apologies, thank you. Item 2, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 7th of December 2020. And we've had plenty of time to be able to look through those minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Could I get a seconder, please? Thank you, Rob. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 3, any matters arising from those minutes? No, I take it that's a no. Thank you very much. Item 4, presentations and awards. We don't have any today. Presentation of petitions or joint letters. And there's none been presented to Council over the last few months. Item 6, disclosure of conflict of interest at a council meeting. And I'm sure we're all very aware of the Code of Conduct, which requires us to declare conflicts of interest. So if there is any, now is the time to declare those conflicts.
Mayor, I will be declaring an interest in the confidential item and I'll remove myself from the meeting.
Thank you very much for that. If anything comes up during our deliberations where you believe there is a conflict, you still do have the opportunity then to declare that conflict and leave the room. Item number 7 is the informal meeting of councillors, and this is where the meetings are not designated council meetings or designated briefings, but where a collection of councillors get together and look at some of the items that are generated throughout our community over a period of time. Some of those items over the last couple of months have been the Lord Nelson Park multi-purpose design, the Sanana Early Learning Centre review, the vendor, just excuse me, somebody has unfortunately rang me right at the wrong time. The Sloane Street development, the vendor management recruitment service, the council action plan updates, the Sanana community plan, the established new MEMF organisation and the rules and regulations into the MEMF organisation under the new Local Government Act, the planning delegation policy, the appointment of council committee delegates representatives 2021, and there are a number of others. Could I get a motion in regard to that, please? Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Could I have a seconder?
Second, Mayor.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak in relation to that? No, thank you. It's only a noting of the meetings, I take it. Thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Are there any items brought forward today? Thanks. That's a negative. So we move to the consideration of reports of our officers, and we'll go to uh, 9.3, the Local Roads and Community Infrastructure Fund, and this is in regard to our road projects going forward, and I would need a motion in regard to this, please, if I could.
Mr Mayor, I'm happy to move that one council withdraws the proposed North Park precinct project stated on netball court upgrade from the federally funded local roads community infrastructure program. Two, that the council adopts the proposed project for the federally funded local roads community infrastructure program, revitalising Sonata to increase public activity streetscape, round one. Sonata Tennis Club building renewal, Lansbury Road Bridge renewal, Kendrick Road, Bullering Road culvert upgrade, Sloane Street roundabout rehabilitation, Newton Street stall curb channel footpath installation, Bowen Street Sonata curb and channel footpath installation, Grampians Road Falls Gap pedestrian crossing, Clementis Drive Falls Gap footpath installation, Patrick Street stall drainage, McLaughlin Street stall curb and channel footpath drainage installation, Banyuna Road Banyuna final seal, Structural Road Falls Gap final seal, and Woolpack Road Sonata final seal.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Could I have a seconder in regard to that, please? Councillor Driscoll, thank you. Councillor Irwin, would you like to speak on the motion?
Yes, Mr Mayor. This may seem a little bit negative, but we're actually, it was a small amount of money in that round one allocated to trying to do something with the netball courts over in North Park. We are seeking to find a better outcome, and it will be the optimum outcome, hopefully, fingers crossed. So that's the reason for redirecting that little bit of money, and it will allow a bit of an addition to the streetscape in Sonata as well. I think it's a bit of a leap of faith, but I think we're reasonably confident that it will be a good leap of faith. So,
Thank you. Councillor Driscoll, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. I think Councillor Irwin's covered it pretty well, but I think a lot of these fundings are predicated on timelines in terms of when they're going to be completed or not. So it certainly puts Trent and his team under a fair bit of pressure. There's a lot going on in the Shire, but I think it's an exciting outcome. And from that perspective, I think this is a really good illustration of what is going on. It's about council maximise the opportunities where funding is available and being able to meet those timelines. So I think it's a good move.
Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak? Just before I ask Councillor Irwin to sum up, I think looking at our officers' list in regard to the recommendation, the work is certainly spread throughout our Shire. There's equal amounts in every area: Sonata, Stawell, Great Western, Halls Gap. Certainly no area has been left wanting in regard to the resolution. So I'd like to ask Councillor Irwin if he'd like to sum up.
Nothing further. I think Councillor Driscoll is right. Fiddle's area is under the pump. It's got a lot of work on the books to do, and we need to meet these timelines in terms of government funding. So I think this will, fingers crossed, work out extremely well for everyone on there.
Thank you. I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for that. 9.4.1 is the Councillor Code of Conduct. And of course, with the new Local Government Act coming in, there's been some amendments to the Act in regard to the Councillor Code of Conduct. So I would be seeking a motion in regard to the councillor code of conduct. Could I ask somebody to move the motion or move a motion?
I'm happy to move, Mr Mayor, that the council adopts the council code of conduct.
Thank you very much. Could I have a seconder, please?
Yes.
Councillor Dempsey?
Yep.
Councillor Irwin?
Yes, Mr Mayor, look, we've always had a code of conduct as long as I can remember, but under the new Local Government Act, there's a few changes to that. Really, the code of conduct is common sense and common decency, and I think everyone in this room wouldn't object to that. So it is relatively straightforward. There are a few things in there that councillors know they shouldn't do. Unfortunately, some occasionally do, but it is common sense. When in doubt, yes, don't do it. Simple as that. So, look, this is part of the normal program for a new council to have a code of conduct, and as part of the new legislation. So, I think I've had a good read through it, and it seems fair and reasonable.
Thank you. Councillor Dempsey?
Just to second what Councillor Irwin said, really, and just that it's a requirement under the new Local Government Act for 2020, and those changes have been made, and all the councillors are aware of them and agreed to them, and yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors like to speak? No, just before I ask Councillor Irwin to sum up, I think it's a privilege of being part of this council. I know that the rules and regulations are in place for the protection of everybody, but it's something that this council over my time here has well and truly respected the requirements of our code of conduct, and in my time, and I think it'd apply to Councillor Irwin's extended time here, I don't think we've ever had a problem with our code of conduct and with the behaviour of this council. Personally, I'm very pleased to be part of a council like this, where we don't really have to worry about the code of conduct, but it is in the background in case something does go wrong. Councillor Irwin, you like to sum up? Thank you. I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 9.4.2 is the proposed naming of the Maud Street Dam site. Over a period of time, Council has had a number of discussions in regard to what we could do with the new areas that Council has been promoting up in the Maud Street areas. And we've now got to a stage where we're considering the naming of some of that area. So could I get a motion in regard to what Council is thinking in regard to the naming of the Maud Street area?
Yes, Mr Mayor, we'd like to propose that we name them the Norman Castle Reserve.
Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Could I get a second in regard to that motion, please?
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Haswell. Councillor Irwin, would you like to speak on the motion?
Yes, look, I think most of us would know that Dr Norman Castle did a lot for the town store. He was recognised in the store hospital. I think that's been changed to something. But these dams are located just at the foot of the hospital. I think it would be appropriate to have something long-term in Dr Castle's name. So my proposal was that they be named the Norman Castle Reserve.
Thank you very much. Councillor Haswell?
Yes, I agree there with Councillor Irwin. I think we had two options. We had the Castle Reserve and the Norman Castle Reserve, and I think the Norman Castle Reserve sounds more appropriate. And it's appropriate we do this in commemoration of all of his good works.
Thank you, Councillor Haswell. Any other councillors like to speak? Okay. Just before you sum up, just one part of that motion is that this is only a decision for the naming to go out to our community for their input before we actually send it off and have it verified, hopefully by the state government. So, Councillor Irwin, would you like to sum up?
Yes, I did realise that it was up for comment and had to go past the post names committee and hopefully that can be all put in place. I know that the family has been contacted and they're quite happy with that decision, so we'll see what the community say.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you for that. 9.4.3 today is the quarterly finance report, and these reports are, as it suggests, done quarterly, and Council has a lot of discussion with the officers in regard to how we're travelling financially, which is damn important. So I have a recommendation. Could I get a motion in regard to that recommendation, please, or another motion?
Happy to move. The council notes the financial report for the second quarter ended December 31, 2020.
Thank you very much. Could I have a seconder in regard to that?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Dempsey. Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, as you said, every 3 months the Chief Executive Officer is to provide council with a financial report comparing budgeted revenue to actual revenue and expenditure. So that's just to make an illustration of where we are. We're at probably a place here of the actual report. There's 6.8 million opening balance. That's to fund projects, carry forward projects from 1920, and a $22.95 million forecast capital works, and that's a significant increase compared to the adopted budget of 13.41. Hence, we infer our Trenton's department is under the pump. There's a lot going on. We've nearly crammed 2 years' work into one, so that's pretty significant. We've got a 24.59 total cash balance at the end of 2020, and that's to fund all these capital projects and other secured projects that we've got pipelined throughout this year. We've got 10.5 in terms of debtors, rate sundry balance at the end of September 20, and this is comparable to prior 1920 year with minimum impact due to COVID-19, which is refreshing as well. And we've got $2.4 million loan balance, and 0.22 of that is scheduled repayments for 2021. So I think the financial security or otherwise of our councils is very solid. And once again, we commend our hard-working finance team under the stewardship of Vaughan. I think we run a really good ship, and this is a very solid report. Once again, commendation to CEO and Finance Department. Well done.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Dempsey.
Pretty much just to echo Councillor Driscoll's words and to thank Vaughan and Malcolm and the team for pulling together the budget, and it's all looking really good. And yes, I think that's about it. Just thank you again to the team for keeping us on track.
Thank you for that. Any other councillors like to speak?
Just quickly, it is a healthy budget, and as Councillor Driscoll said, a lot of this money is earmarked for projects to come. So even though we are in a very healthy position, that money will be spent over time. So if Mr. Phil can keep the ball rolling well, I'm sure we'll look at spending a fair portion of that.
Thank you for that. Anyone else like to speak in regard to that? Thank you. Councillor Driscoll, would you like to sum up?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one comment. I think this is a great illustration of what an exciting place Northern Grampians Shire is, the sorts of things that are going on in the next 12 months. It's sort of hang on to your seats. I reckon it's going to be a great ride.
Thank you for that. I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 10, notices of motion or rescission. And I understand there isn't any today. Reports from councillors or committees. This is item number 11, and it gives councillors an opportunity to perhaps bring to the attention of our community some of the functions, meetings, representations we've been to over the last couple of months. If there's anything of any significant importance.
Just a quick one. Congratulations to all those Australia Day winners. Well and truly deserved. And
Thank you very much. I'll give a quick report on the mayoral duties. Since we started back about a month ago, I've been here, there and everywhere, which everybody will understand as they get the opportunity to hold this position. It's been very busy, attending all types of decision-making meetings with other councils and directional meetings. And it's been full on. And I think that looking into the future, I think about now's the time when everybody will be getting off their backsides and getting around and doing some things, especially when we get our representative groups in order. There'll be lots of reports to be done at the following council meetings, I'm sure. So thank you for that. I did have the privilege of attending the graduation ceremony with Councillor Driscoll last Friday night at the Sonana Secondary College. And it just amazes me they had the last year's Ducks come back to speak at the graduation. It just amazes me sometimes the wonderful capabilities of some of the younger people within our community. She was a young lady from overseas who lived in Sonana, got high scores, and now she's away studying at the university. Some great achievements, and it's a real pleasure to be able to go to those ceremonies. So I thank Councillor Driscoll and the Stawell Secondary College for inviting Wendy and I along to that. Item number 12 today is any urgent business.
Mr Mayor, may I submit an item of urgent business? That being that Council acknowledge in the recent Australia Awards, one of our citizens in Sonana, Greg Fiddle, was a great community member, got an ASM medal, and so I propose that the Council rightly acknowledge Greg's great achievement in this field, bearing in mind he's a stalwart in the community in every other organisation, but particularly I think we should proudly acknowledge his ASM.
Thank you for that. Well, I need the process here is I need two motions, and the first motion is to accept the item of business. So could I get a seconder in regard to that? Thank you, Councillor Irwin. Everybody in favour? Thank you. Now, if you'd like to move your motion and detail the motion in full, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, the Council acknowledge the effort or the receipt of Greg Fiddle being awarded the ASM. As I said, this is for many years' service to the ambulances. It's just one of his many streams. Greg's involved in fire, rotary, everything else, but this is particularly for ambulance service medal. So I'd like Council to acknowledge that by way of a letter. Obviously, by the Mayor, obviously, that would be possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Irwin is the seconder there. Do you need any further discussion in regard to that, Councillor Driscoll?
I don't think so. I think that's what I'd like councillors to do.
Is it appropriate that the letter of congratulations goes out under seal? I might ask the CEO in regard to that. Some rules in regard to that.
Let me just check with the
Okay.
governance officer. Yes, thank you.
It does go out under seal, so we'll incorporate that into your motion that the a letter of congratulations goes out under the Northern Grampians Shire Council seal.
That'd be really great. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'll put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much.
As you acknowledge, Mr Mayor, you make a great distribution to all technical schools.
I don't have a reply for that, actually. Thank you. Item 13, any public question time today? I don't think we've had any information from our community, I don't think. Thank you. Looking around the room for some acknowledgement there. So that completes that part of the Northern Grampians Shire business, but we do have a couple of items to deal with in closed council. They're items of a confidential matter, so I would need a motion for us to go into closed council. Thank you, Councillor Haswell. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, councillor Dempsey. I don't think it needs any discussion. I'll put that motion to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. So